Good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the Wooster City Council held this Monday, October 18th, 2021. We're now in the council chambers once again, and this is live streamed on YouTube. It's after 7:30 p.m. Next meeting will be scheduled for Monday, November 1st, 2021, which happens to be the day before Election Day, so that's coming up fairly quick. Mr. Paulo, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Ansel?
Here.
Mr. Bostancic?
Here.
Mr. Cavan?
Here.
Mr. Myers?
Here.
Mr. Sanders?
Here.
Mr. Silvestri?
Here.
Ms. Warden?
Here.
It's nice to see everyone here tonight. We are down to last council meeting, so I'm glad to see you all and hope everyone's feeling well. The agenda will remain as presented, and at this time I would ask you to join the Worcester City Council in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. Approval of the minutes from the meeting held October 4th, 2021. I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Motion approved by Mr. Myers. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Silvestri. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, say nay. The minutes of October 4, 2021 meeting have been approved. Welcome, Mr. Mayor. Good to see you.
Thank you, President Biden-Dyke and members of City Council. Nice to see everyone this evening. Just a few things to report to you since our last council meeting. First, I want to say thank you to all of you in the Council Finance Committee and all the other council members that were here and joined in. We appreciate your guidance and your buy-in to the plan submittal that we've placed in front of you concerning the ARPA funding process coming out of the federal government and the bed tax funding that we presented in front of you tonight. So thank you for your help there and good conversations. Some notable events that have happened. This has actually been a really busy couple of weeks. We had Wooster Rotary Club celebrating its 100th anniversary on October the 7th. And thank you to the Rotarians for the service to our community. They do many things to make our city of Worcester a much better place to live. The Chamber of Commerce held an open house on October the 12th in celebration of the 2021 National Chamber of the Year Award. So congratulations to them for that national recognition. The Wayne County Community Foundation held its annual dinner on October the 13th. They're a wonderful partner in philanthropy to our community. Sort of this is the book that they had passed out at the dinner, a real nice memory piece to look back on through the years. They had said that they handle our downtown beautification fund and also the fund for the Wayne County Trails Committee. So nice buy-in and help through that foundation. Sarah Patton announced her retirement as the executive director at the meeting, and they named Melanie Garcia as the new executive director. So we wish them well in that transition. Our city law director is not with us this evening, so we are being served by our assistant city law director. So thank you, Kevin, for joining us tonight. John Scavelli celebrated his marriage over the weekend. Many council members were involved at that. He got married to Pin Xuan Hung on October 15th, this past Friday night. So we wish him congratulations and best wishes. We look forward to celebrating the groundbreaking on Wednesday with Worcester Brush's new facility out off of Daisy Way. Council members should have all received an invitation to join in on that. If not, please let us know, and we'll pass that on to the Worcester Brush Company. Council members should also received an email from Jonathan Millay talking about an update on the TIF project that we've been sort of working through out off of Oldman Road and Oak Hill. So that is moving forward. We are doing lots of conversations and, explaining things to people, because this is a relatively new thing for our community. We have had TIFs in the past. The one that was most used was Long Road, was a TIF back in the 80s. So that worked out well for the city and the companies that landed on those parcels out there. And finally, we're holding our final Wooster Citizens Government Leadership Academy class on this coming Wednesday, and Wooster Community Hospital is our theme for the day. But we've had a nice group there, and we're winding that down for this year. But a great program that really introduces people to what we do as a city. So, and that's everything I have for you tonight. So we wish you well in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We don't have any petitions this evening, and at least according to the sign-in sheet, no one's here from the public to speak on agenda items. Committee reports. We had a finance committee meeting just before tonight's meeting. Do you want to comment on that?
Yes, thank you, Mr.
Ansel?
President. I'll give a brief recap. Most of us here tonight attended that committee meeting, and thank you, Councilman Myers and Councilman Sanders, for your engagement. But what we were able to do is review the projected allocation of funds received through the American Rescue Plan Act. And as we are aware, we have about $2.8 million that we'll be receiving over a 2-year period. And I'm just going to cover a very highlighted kind of summaries. Funds will be allocated to public health, to sewer and wastewater treatment and management, cogen and biosolid improvements. Transportation program was earmarked a significant amount of funding to continue to support that program. Downtown facade program, a program in place that allows grants to be provided at a subsidized level to continue to improve for those small businesses in the downtown area. Fire station renovations, and finally, community center additions. These are just being budgeted in fund allocation. Funds will not be spent until council approves sometime in the coming year or years. And as Mr. Doherty noted, these funds have to be encumbered by, I believe, 2024 and expended by 2026. So this is an evolving funding use. But right now, we do have some targeted allocations identified, and thank you for the preparation regarding that meeting. It really allowed us to be very productive, and it was insightful, so we were fully prepared. The second is the bed tax allocation. As we are aware, during 2020, our bed tax receipts due to COVID were significantly reduced. And last year, we made the decision to not retain our portion of those bed tax amounts and give it all to the recipients. This year, we've received another single request for the bed tax allocation. Main Street, the Chamber, and the Wayne County Convention Bureau, they've been doing it collectively well over 12 years now, of which the receipts both in 2021 and projected 2022 will have rebounded completely to pre-COVID, even though we are still struggling with some issues in terms of the ongoing COVID dilemma. Bed tax have returned to normalcy, so that's a very positive situation for us to be in. That's all I have. Again, thank you for committee members for your backup support on that, and that's all we talked about this evening, Mr. President.
Thank you for chairing the meeting. It was very informative. We have no public hearings, no unfinished business. we have, we have two, I should say, we have two items of unfinished business and one item of new business. So the first item of unfinished business is resolution number 2021-55. It'll be presented by Mr. Bostancic. If you would, Mr. Paulo, please read the title.
Resolution number 2021-55, a resolution authorizing the mayor to pursue appropriation of certain property interests from property owners adjacent to or abutting Melrose Drive for purposes of proceeding with the improvement thereof and allowing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Bostancic, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. As we discussed at the last meeting, this resolution is to authorize filing procedures in court for certain properties on Melrose Drive, which have not come to an agreement with the city of Worcester for temporary, or in some cases, permanent right-of-way easements for the Melrose reconstruction project. As of last week, there were 11 properties still outstanding. 3 more have come to an agreement, which leaves 7 that still has not reached an agreement with the city. Engineering department would like us to take this action in a timely manner as not to jeopardize any of our funding commitments for this project. Now, one question we have for Mr. Kovarsik, do you think another 2 weeks would help, or you think the 7 that are out are pretty well?
I think we've been at this since June,
Okay.
so just trying to keep on track for bidding it out first of next year.
So what was your answer? Is that a yes or a no?
That sounds like
I
a
prefer
no.
if we passed through tonight if possible.
Oh, okay. That's what I thought you were implying, but I wasn't exactly clear.
I was.
I don't speak engineering as Mr.
I think
Montgomery
we'll move
can
on this.
attest from our Finance Committee meeting.
Yes, I'd like to ask, so we're not getting resistance from this request, we're just getting no response?
Correct, yeah.
So they're not concerned, they're not opposing it, they're just not responding?
Correct. There's 2 corporations, so that's going through the corporate. I mean, I don't want to file on anybody if I don't have to. But yeah, we've gotten no response from several.
But traditionally, if there was opposition, they would voice that opposition or try to negotiate a better transaction level. We're just receiving no feedback. So
Correct.
for 4 months, we've knocked and we've requested and we've inquired, and we're just not even getting no, yes, nothing. Interesting.
If there's no other questions, I would like to take this to the third and final reading.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Bostancic to suspend the rules. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ansel. Would you please call the roll on the suspension of the rules?
Bostancic?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Warden?
Yes.
Ansel?
Yes.
And Cavan.
Yes.
Okay, the rules have been suspended. Mr. Bostancic?
I motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ms. Warden. Any further discussion?
I'd just like to ask Mr. Kovalarczyk, what, just so everyone's aware, what steps then will be taken to, basically to proceed without their approval? You know,
Well,
if they're giving you no information?
We have to file with the court
Okay,
our last offer to them, and then we proceed with the project. And hopefully, in the process, we agree. And we do the project, and then at the end is when you argue it, if need be.
okay. Thank you.
Well, the interesting thing is we've established a baseline of transaction with the other participants who are supportive of this easement initiative. So the
Right.
baseline argument is pretty formidable at this point in time if someone were to try to negotiate an arbitrary increase in value.
We've gotten 36 positives back.
I will say in our experience, we've rarely actually filed. Usually once council takes action, that's enough to incentivize people to come to an agreement pretty quickly.
Well, the thing is with these easements, most of them are not permanent. Is that correct?
we have all the permanent right-of-way, it's just temporary.
Yeah, it's just
During
temporary, so it's,
construction, yeah.
we're not really taking anything. We're
There's
just
one,
gonna-
there's one drainage easement and the rest are temporary.
Yeah, so we're really not taking anything. We're
No.
trying to give compensation for the use of their property for the
During
construction phase.
construction, correct.
Mr. Kovalarczyk, wouldn't this be like the easement I provided on Oakley when you guys were doing the work up there? Temporary easement to do that Oakley work?
Yeah, it's temporary, yeah.
Yeah.
Seeing nothing further, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Bastancik?
Yes.
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Warden?
Yes.
Ansel?
Yes.
And Cavan.
Yes.
Resolution number 2021-55 passes. That brings us to resolution number 2021-56. It's be presented by Mr. Bostancic. It's second reading. And speaking of reading, Mr. Paulo, would you mind reading the title, please?
Resolution number 2021-58, a resolution authorizing Director of Administration to advertise according to law and enter into a contract with the lowest and best bidder for the resurfacing of Columbus Avenue, Bell Avenue, and Cleveland Road within the city of Worcester and providing for immediate enactment.
Mr. Bostancic, the floor is yours again.
Okay, thank you. Again, this resolution authorizes advertisement and award a contract for resurfacing and paving repairs in 2022 for the following streets: Bell Avenue from Liberty Street to just north of Bloomington, Cleveland Road from Diller Point to School Court, Columbus Avenue from the Southern Corporation line to Liberty Street. This project includes milling the existing surface, adjusting manholes and water valve boxes to grade, and placing new asphalt and pavement markings. And the engineer, and as usual, the engineering, design, construction, administration, and inspection will be performed in-house by our engineering department. Estimated costs of these paving projects is $1,050,000 with $536,568 paid by ODOT large city funds and $513,000 from City of Worcester funds. So a large portion of this is, about half, is paid by the state.
Do you have a motion for us?
I would like to take this to third and final as well.
Okay, motion to suspend the rules by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. Would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Warden?
Yes.
Ansel?
Yes.
Cavan?
Yes.
And Bastancik.
Yes.
Mr. Bostancic?
And motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Mr. Bostancic. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Ansel. Any other questions? Pretty straightforward. The engineering department always does a great job. Thank you, Roger. Seeing nothing else, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Myers?
Yes.
Sanders?
Yes.
Silvestri?
Yes.
Warden?
Yes.
Ansel?
Yes.
Cavan?
Yes.
And Bastancik.
Yes.
Resolution number 2021-56 passes. On to new business, and I will have to disclose on the basis of transparency, the seller happens to be a client of mine, but I will not engage in the discussion, nor will I vote on the matter. So all I'm going to do is have Ms. DiPaolo introduce it and just ask for motions and call the vote. But just so everyone knows, seller is a client of mine. So would you please read the title?
Resolution number 2021-60, a resolution authorizing the Director of Administration to enter into a contract with Deborah J. Marilot for the purchase of real estate, appropriating the necessary funds and allowing for immediate enactment.
Because I wanted my little disclaimer, I forgot to point out Ms. Warden is the presenter of this piece of legislation, and it is slated for 3 readings. Ms. Warden, the floor is yours.
Thank you. So this is to further the the comprehensive plan for downtown Worcester and the East Liberty portion of our downtown. And so basically, we are requesting to enter into contract with Deborah J. Marilat to purchase a home that is a two-unit house on East North Street, 355 East North Street is the address, for $95,000 plus closing costs. The owner will be allowed to maintain this this property as a rental for, we have a 2-year lease agreement expiring on December 31st, 2023. And the future plan will be to turn this into a public parking lot that will support the ongoing development in our downtown corridor. So the acquisition price with the closing costs, we're approximating out about $100,000 in order to execute this acquisition. And, I would like to move to place this on third and final this evening.
All right, a motion to suspend the rules by Ms. Warden. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Silvestri. Would you please call the roll on the motion to suspend the rules?
Sanders.
Yes.
Silvestri.
Yes.
Warden.
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
Cavan.
Yes.
Bastancik.
Yes.
And Myers.
Yes.
Okay, the rules have been suspended. I look to you again, Ms. Warden.
Thank you. I move to adopt.
Motion to adopt by Ms. Warden. Is there a second? Second by Mr. Myers. Any discussion?
Mr. Malay's here if anyone wants to make it worth his while.
job.
Seeing none, would you please call the roll on the motion to adopt?
Sanders.
Yes.
Silvestri.
Yes.
Warden.
Yes.
Ansel.
Yes.
Cavan.
Yes.
Bastancik.
Yes.
And Myers.
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 2021-60 passes. That brings us to the miscellaneous portion, and there's Ray and Lisa McConnell are here to speak, and I think they're here to speak on behalf of one of their parents. So if you would, please state your name, and I know you don't live in the city of Worcester, but I know you're, is it your mother?
It's actually, I'm Ray McConnell, my wife Lisa, and it's Lisa's parents,
Okay,
Henry and
so it's
Rosemary
your-
Tomasetti, that we're here on behalf of.
All right, so if you would state, you've already stated your name, where you live, but who you're speaking on behalf and their address.
Sure.
If you would, please.
Is it 2361 Canterbury Lane, Henry and Rosemary Tomasetti. There is also the neighbor lady, Mrs. Enderly. I've spoken with her and her daughter. Also, she lives outside of town and helps her with daily life, as we do with Lisa's parents. I would like to thank Lynn for your help in making this possible. You were very helpful on the phone, and I appreciate it. It was very professional and good. Thank you. I don't know. I'm not real sure how to go at this or what to say. The property is Highland and Canterbury. There was sidewalk that was installed on the back end of their property on Highland that they had no say-so, had no reason to want this sidewalk to be put there. There's no benefit to their property for this sidewalk being put there. In fact, it's going to be a hindrance to them because now it's my understanding that they have responsibility for this piece of sidewalk that was placed there. Mrs. Enderly's assessment is I forget the number, it's something like $4,000 or $5,000 that she's being assessed. And my in-laws, I believe it was, I don't remember the number, it was $2,400 or $2,500 for a sidewalk that they don't want. And there's several things with this. I encourage you to go look at the sidewalk and go look at what is obviously missing, which is a buffer area between the road and the sidewalk. The sidewalk is right up against the curb, and we walk there frequently. Lisa and I walk all around we take about a 2-mile jaunt, and we would not walk on that road, on that sidewalk. It's not safe. If someone were to veer off the road there, they're gonna take somebody out, because there is no buffer. There's no grassy area between the edge of the curb and the sidewalk. It's my understanding that they will be responsible for snow removal and also the mowing. Just to be clear, anybody that lives in that development, there is no association. They pay for their snow removal and they pay for their mowing to be done. Everybody in the meadows pays for what happens in there. There's no association. I see no benefit to them at all that this happened. Lisa's parents are 92 and 87, and the neighbor lady, Mrs. Enderly, is well up in her 80s as well. Another point about the missing buffer is when the snow gets plowed off of the road, guess where it's going to land up? It's going to be on the sidewalk. It's not going to be in the buffer area, it's going to be on the sidewalk. And my concern is that they will be held liable for an accident that happens out there, that someone gets injured walking on the sidewalk. This was a mistake. It should not have been put there. That sidewalk should not have been put there. And another point about it is, to the west of Canterbury, where you come in off of Highland, they did not put the sidewalk down along there. I was told that has to do with the slope of the ground there, and that's why Mr. Kobylarczyk, when I spoke with him, said that the slope of the ground there was the reason they didn't put the sidewalk down through there. So they came part way and then stopped. There's a perfectly good sidewalk on the other side of the road that was fine and worked out great. Now you have two older families with a sidewalk that they really should not be responsible for, should not have to pay for. And then there are probably 5 other homes down along there.
All right, I've let you go beyond your 2 minutes, and
I didn't realize I had 2 minutes. Nobody
I don't
told me.
think anyone made that clear.
yeah, that's what that noise
I had
was.
no
Well,
idea.
I mean, you're talking about other people other than just,
Sure,
Yeah,
sure,
so-
yeah.
so I get it.
Yeah. The trees that were there, which are the back of their property, which create the privacy, are probably going to die because of what has happened to the sidewalk being put that close. They're pine trees that are 25, 30 feet high. When you disturb that root system, I'll bet within 2 to 3 years they'll all be dead, and there'll be a responsibility to take care of those as well. So that's what I wanted to be heard. Thank you for listening. Take a good look at what has happened there. I don't think there's any other sidewalk in town like that, where there's no buffer zone. At least not that I've seen it. Maybe there is, and so
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
your consideration would be appreciated.
Okay, then we have a miscellaneous portion for council. We'll start with Mr. Silvestri.
Nothing to add this evening. Thank you, Mr. President.
Ms. Warden,
I have nothing to add, thank you.
Mr. Ansel,
Done, thanks.
Mr. Cavan.
Nothing to add other than thank you, Mr. Ansel, for your summation and your initial projection of our budget. Look forward to hearing more.
Mr. Bostancic,
Nothing to add.
Mr. Myers.
I just want to thank the Tomasettis for coming and sharing, for in the behalf of the Tomasettis, your concerns. I've had other people in my ward, it's not right against the road, but it's less than the standard, I think, 6 feet. And they do say that when the snowplows come, all the snow and ice ends up landing on the sidewalk, and they've got to redo it, and it becomes quite a burden. And so I have had other people bring that up, so I appreciate you sharing this evening.
And Mr. Sanders.
I have nothing to add.
And I see
To adjourn,
Mr.
Mr.
Ansell's moved to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Cavan. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned.